I'm doing a show at the Glasgow International Comedy Festival. It's called Why Am I Like This? It's about love and all sorts of shit, but basically I roast everyone I've ever met. If you like what I do here, get your tickets now.
Hello, and welcome to the Outer Limb podcast. I am your host, Kat Powell, and I am here with the absolutely wonderful Yvonne Hughes.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is our Christmas episode, coming into the very beginning of December, the time when Christmas should start. That's what I believe anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen Christmas trees up already.
The music, it kills me. Anyway, but we are going to talk about, we've made it festive, even though we're recording this in November. And I'm going to take this off because it's actually, oh my God. Today I am channeling the incredible Janet Tannage. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Tannage.
If you ask my dad, it's Janet Tannage, and I'm like, no, it's Janet, because did you know that Tannage is Janet backwards?
That is really obvious, but I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
we put the accent on the Tannage. You got it perfect, 100%.
Tannage, yes,
Tannage,
yes,
yeah.
Which we'll get into more of later.
Mm-hmm.
So Yvonne is a fellow stand-up comic in the comedy scene, doing it at least a smidgen longer than me. Just a smidgen. And we're going to talk about giggles for Glasgow. Can I say Glasgow? What's it? Glasgow. Why can't I? That's so shameful. I hate that because my accent gets
I can't
mixed
even
up.
say it because I am quite posh, so I say Glasgow.
Glasgow.
It just doesn't have that ring to it. We say that. Giggles from Glasgow is quite hard to say, actually.
See, I would just say Glasgow.
Like
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Glasgow. I do have a real accent. Who knew? But we're going to talk about
French and Glaswegian so far.
I'll do Italian next, it's fine. So yes, we're going to be talking about Giggles from Glasgow, your Edinburgh Fringe show, and Janet Tannage, and various other things that you've got coming up, right?
Yeah,
so
amazing.
Welcome to the podcast. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Yvonne.
And yeah. And that's when I'll cut to the thing.
Yes. Doing a podcast about stand-up comedy. It's out on a limb.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's kick back off into it, right? We are here doing festive things. Yvonne has kindly brought a massive selection of snacks. Oh no, look, that's a techie thing. That ruins the homage.
The upside down glasses.
Yes. I am. This is probably the least organised I've been for a podcast so far, which if you've watched any of the other episodes is really saying something. So my hair is just going to get progressively bigger throughout the episodes, and just
we can stick some snowballs
total
in them.
chaos. Yeah, I feel bad for probably my mic is going to end up getting like slapped in the face with wet hair constantly. So sorry. These are new mics. We're doing a lot. We've got a lot going on.
There's a lot.
So yeah, we've got snacks, which you're starving. So let's just eat some snacks as we go. You can trial things.
What I could do is crunch. These are, should we see what they are?
What are they?
Oh my God.
You're sitting on
I was trying to get some horrible, I was trying to get some horrible foods for us to try. These are quite horrible.
Oh, I just saw Budweiser.
Reduced in price. Budweiser flame grilled ribs.
It smells really good, to be fair.
Right, I'm going to crunch it and see.
Is that really flavourless or am I going mad?
No, flame grilled, not flavourless.
Well, it tastes kind of flavourless.
Great with beer.
I don't know if
I'm driving, so I can't have beer.
I don't know if I agree.
What, that you don't like them?
No, that they're great with beer. They kind of taste like cardboard.
Yeah. What are they? You do get ones like that, but don't
I
you?
like the salt, like the sweet chilli coated ones.
Is that what they are?
Yeah. You used to get them, this is so not on point, but like you see them sometimes and it's like hot nuts in bars.
I think that's what I'm thinking about.
And you'd order like
that's right.
a wee thing of hot nuts.
Yeah. So these are not like them.
No.
I wonder if you could heat them up.
Probably, but I think
In the microwave.
the microwave.
Maybe they'll pop. The microlabby. My partner calls it a micro ding.
A pop to ping.
The micro ding.
The micro ding, I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yes.
podcast.
It might not be about comedy, it might just be about Christmas
Just eating snacks.
food.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, this is me like so festive with my hairy legs out in my shorts, but I'm like iron siding it.
Lovely.
So let's get into a little bit about you and about comedy and how you. Well, actually, first off, let's say this: how do we know each other? That's always the start.
I knew you did comedy, and I asked you to take my Edinburgh show based on a post that you put on that you knew tech. And I just
Vaguely.
pinged you and said, please take my show. And you did, and you were amazing. And I didn't, you were very kind actually, because you were really busy. And then on the day the show started, when I was a nervous wreck and trying to get everything sorted, you'd messaged me or something. You said, look, I've moved things around and so I'll be with you. I paid her well. But, you know, I just really, that moment was like, oh my God. But wasn't it weird that week that we hardly got to speak to each other because we were always running off to do things? So this is really lovely because we can now get to talk.
It's true. It's one of those things where you feel like you've landed up because it's been little and often. It feels like a lot more than if you were just like together for like one big long day. I really enjoyed. I think like I wouldn't have came up and done the full thing if you hadn't asked me to do that. So the fact that I came up and did the like 8 days because of that was just great.
I know. Well, next year will be 2 weeks.
Oh, great.
But we'll see.
That's fine. I'll just make sure I'll have the show before you. We can swap. I'll teach you how to tech.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I gave you a great tech lesson.
It was very easy.
Do this.
That's what I mean. You said, oh, you did an amazing job. And I'm like, amazing is a strong word. Like I've put on fully fledged theatre shows. But yeah, that was amazing. It was amazing. I really liked what you did. I thought it was like, because I wasn't sure about, so what Yvonne did was you got like a wee mini projector that you bought yourself, which makes more sense than paying for a fancy one when you're in like a pub anyway.
Yeah, you can use it at home and stuff.
Yeah. And then you got a big like A1 piece of paper with it.
Oh, I'll tell you a story. I found out in my work I had a screen. Like I could have borrowed a proper screen instead of like, I went to Hobbycraft and bought is it A1?
Yeah.
Or A0?
Might have been A0.
You realise to swear, fucking big bit of cardboard. And I carried, and I bought the art case as well.
Oh my God.
And I carried it in and I took it every day because there was nowhere to store stuff in the bar, which was Pilgrim Bar, and it was amazing in Cowgate. It was a really lovely room.
Yeah,
but there was just nowhere to store in, so I had to take everything in every day. But we had like 3 chairs set up. We had you and the tech, you in a chair, then we had the projector, and then with a laptop. There was like multimedia show.
There was me on the chair with a laptop on the chair, which was attached to a pile of boxes with a projector on top of it, and then pointed at a big bit of paper. But I was amazed the paper worked really well. Like it actually, for a low budget option, it was very good.
You forgot well, this is my creativity, my creative brain coming in. Like yes, I made the dodgy easel, the rackety easel that now has a nut or a bolt missing and doesn't even stand up on its own. So we had that. And I was like, well, this is actually work because it's a long, narrow room as well. So we were trying not to obscure the then presentation that was going on, as in presentation, funny stuff that was going on it.
Not TED Talk, PowerPoint.
No, like, well, at the beginning I thought it was a TED Talk. And it worked fine, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it was really great. I loved the fact that because of the way we'd set it up, it landed up being mostly people sitting along the side.
I know.
But it was like everyone was at this kind of squinty angle, but I thought it really kind of worked strangely because it forced people to be engaged with you. Nobody was like sitting staring off into space, you know, because you like...
Well, you weren't seeing them from my angle, but no, they weren't, you're right. But also, I think that's reflective of my demographic because that room just had stools in it.
Yeah.
And people my age we got a sore back, you know, I got a sore back. So just sit on the side like that, just sit on the side. And so everyone sat on the side because of their age.
Stools are for cups, mobile phones to sit on while you're performing, or sticking your feet up on when you're sitting down.
Yeah, when you're sitting down.
comfy
Yeah,
seat.
this is really comfy. I like this.
As everybody says, they love the comfy couch. It's funny.
Is that your corner?
Yes. Well, actually, it is my corner, but Craig steals it. Because I would just say this is my corner, but then he will always be like, no, I want to.
Yeah, I've got a single, like 3-seater sofa, but I want the corner one.
A single sofa is just a chair.
I know, a 3-seater, I've got a big long one. And we would probably argue about who has the long side, because we went on holiday a couple of times and it's the same place we went to, and I'm like, I really want this sofa, but yeah, they're quite expensive as well. So, but this is a good depth, good shape, and that corner suits you.
I do love it. It's like it is ideal. But it's the funny thing is it's, and this is one of the only times in my life I've ever done this, is our friend had this sofa, like the same type of facing the other orientation, and we liked it so much we found it online, or it was like, we didn't find it, my mum sent me it I think, and I was like, oh, I really like that, that's perfect, and then I looked at it, realised it was the same, and I was like, we'll just not tell them.
No, and never invite them to
Yeah, just never invite them. And then one day they were coming over and we were just like, because we always went to them, they were coming over and I was like, there's something we have to tell you, because it's going to be weird if you just walk in and you stole our sofa. Like, ripped them off.
There's only a finite amount of sofas in the world, you know.
It's the comfiest.
It is, it's amazing. Yeah,
I love it.
Recommend it.
Yes. Anyway, enough about my sofa.
Yeah, sofas.
I can't remember, we were like, so how we met.
Edinburgh.
So yeah, we met, we were on Fresh Comedy International Women's Day.
That's right, yeah, that was a lovely gig.
And that was how we met.
Oh, you smashed it that night, it was great.
I cannot remember, it was so long ago now.
Yeah.
When's International Women's Day?
March, 14th of March. I think.
Gosh, I'd barely been going by that point. I probably thought I was like a hardcore pro. I mean, I'd been 5 months, but like through December and January, I probably did like maybe 5 gigs or something. And then, to be fair, like March, obviously it's the comedy festival in March, so I just did loads of stuff through that period. Any show I could get my filthy little paws on.
It feels like, so that was on at the comedy festival, maybe?
It must have.
Gosh.
Must have.
I need to check back. Yeah, I'm sure it was March. It was something like that week.
It was back when I used to actually document all of my shows. I pretty much like would post a picture of every show, and then after like, I don't know, my 30th show, I was just like, bugger this.
Yeah, I've fallen off the bandwagon with that as well. It's like, oh, this will be great when I look back when I'm older and all the shows, and the last like 10 I've done, I've not even, there's no
I have a
social
calendar.
media.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I know what's there.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's how we met. How did you actually get your start in comedy then?
Well, what course did you do?
So I did the ultra course with Viv.
Okay. Yeah, so it was Viv, before that, as I had ran comedy nights, comedy courses, and it was Strathclyde Uni. So I was looking for something to do. I didn't seek out comedy. Right. It found me. I was looking for something to do going into the new year of 2020. Ominous times. So we'd heard about this virus, and I thought that's fine. So January 2020, I was with like 10, 11 other people, and we did Comedy 1 at Strathclyde Uni, and it was, I signed up for it just because I was looking for either an art course or keyboard course, and then I just saw this Comedy 1, and I looked at the course, what do you call it, course synopsis or whatever, and I was like, that sounds really cool, and I just signed up for it there and then it was the best 8 weeks of my life. Oh, well, that sounds quite sad actually. No, it was the best 8 weeks. I mean, who's had a good 8 weeks, you know? So apart from summer, so I just loved it. I loved it, and then we obviously to do the Mango. We did it in Mango, which I don't know if it's still there. It's like a street bar, Mango bar. and the room was packed, and I was terrified because the bug at this point was in Italy, and it was steadily
really
creeping
bad,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was things in the UK at that point, and we did that gig, and then I decided about a week later to go into isolation because I have a health condition. And so I think it was like but the 12th of March, I just bowed out of society to stay away from people because I've got a lung thing going on, and that was it. So I just thought, that's it over. And then during that summer, Viv ran online classes, and then Des McLean had been quite supportive, and I used to watch his shows every Saturday night that he put on. Never gave me a spot, but I was fresh out the box, and we just kind of stuck with Des and Viv at that point, and then just started again in sort of 2021, and yeah, just because I was saying, I was doing comedy. I'd actually gone back to work because I'd been unwell, and I'd gone back to work full time, and then I was sort of putting comedy aside, but then I'd met Alan at this point, and my partner, and he says, well, why aren't you doing it? And I thought, you're right. And I just started applying to the people I knew that they were doing open mic nights and stuff, and that was it. So, and I got gigs, and then it just kept going. It is like a drug, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I love that it was something you just kind of kept coming back to, even though you could have dropped, because that kind of says that it's something that's right for you.
If I kind of have this line where I say I've got no children and never been married, and I think a part of that is I've never found a community of my own. Getting heavy, but these people
You watch this pod.
these people that I have met, like yourself and the girls I work with, the guys, we're all bloody mental, but there's just some kind of connection I have with that, putting yourself through this, being brave, being, like bombing on stage or dying on stage or doubting yourself. Why do we do it? Yeah, absolutely. It's just a ride going through it. Why do we do it? And we just keep putting ourselves. I do have great resilience, but with this, some things have affected me more. And like you say, I've come in and out it. And but there's some there that I think I'm kind of. You never be the perfect comedian, but you like to perfect things.
Yeah.
So you're always trying to.
It's a puzzle.
As a puzzle. What made you mention that?
We're a couple of what's the word? Thingyologists.
Can I have a drink yet? Oh gosh, what are they? Oh my god, I said it. Jigsaologists? No, I don't like I don't do jigsaws.
My brain's gone like insectologist.
Oh, it's got a weird
It's not.
thing. It's a weird name. Have you got your phone? I'll get my phone.
What is it? It's like
puzzle lovers are called. Oh my god.
So this is a bit in Yvonne's show from The Fringe.
I don't know if this really sells it.
Well, it's about riddles, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's basically dissectologist.
Oh my god, amazing! Yeah, which sounds like you cut people up.
Yeah.
Well done.
I've probably smashed the microphone there, just screaming dissectologist.
Booming. Yeah.
That was really challenging. I was listening to you, but I was trying to eat that, and I was really.
I did say, and I was trying not to
going
draw attention to the fact that you were eating it. Like,
I was just eating in such a.
Cheese.
It is. It's like micro snacking. I love it.
I wasn't I? Oh no.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll eat it as soon as it's my floor.
So what were we saying there?
What were we talking about? Yeah.
Puzzle. But the puzzle of comedy, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it is. I genuinely do kind of look at it in that kind of doing a puzzle. It's a problem to solve thing, and did that.
More of it's going on your sofa than it is in
It's
my mouth.
fine. I'll clean it up. You're like, well, that didn't work. That did work. Why not? Why did it? Like, one of the really interesting. This is like such a tangent, but just kind of reminds me of it. So I did Red Raw twice. So I did my second Red Raw at the start of October, and I filmed it proper and had myself mic'd up and everything. And I looked back on it and I just was like, well, actually, I came off stage and I was like, I died on Mars. That's what I felt like. I just was like, I've completely wrecked that. I just felt like I was begging for the audience the whole time. I don't know what happened, right? And I was pure sad. And then Dean T. Byrne came in and tragic. He came into the green room, and he just kind of like, he went, "You okay?" Because he was so honest, right? Which I love, because I asked him about it and he was like, "No, I'm genuinely just trying to like live authentically, say what I think, and
you have to.
you see how it goes."
You have to.
Which is, I mean, you're going to improve everything in your life by doing that, as long as you're not a dick about it, and he's not a dick. But he was just like, I was just like, "Well, it wasn't very good, was it?" And he was just like, "I'm not going to lie to you." And then he like just gave me a really big hug and just said like, "Look, it's like that sometimes." And I watched it back and I was like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I still got lots of laughs and like there wasn't any jokes that totally died or anything, but I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And I sent it to Kirsty Lynch, and said, "Can you like look at this and tell me what's wrong with it? Because I can't figure it out." And she looked at it like, I think she said she watched it 3 times. I'm like, "Well, you watched it more than me." So that it's just very, very supportive.
She says she's got a really busy job, but she's not really.
It's just,
I've been in a Zoom with you, Kirsty.
yes. So you're like, it's just so, she's so lovely though. She's so helpful. And she looked, because she was watching, she's like, because she couldn't figure out what it was. And then she said, she's like, "You've kind of you're used to performing to like a small rooms, 20, 30 people. And the first gig I did, it was like to 200 folk. But like, because it's the ultra one.
Yeah, the ultra.
But then doing like, you're like 30 folk, maybe like even at the Fringe, the most you're talking is like 50 people. But the stand is like 200 folk. And it was quite packed. And so she was saying it's like people feel differently in that environment about how much noise they can make, if they can respond to your questions. And you asked a lot of questions, and I was like, normally I ask maybe like 2 or 3.
Right.
In a 10-minute kind of thing.
Okay.
And I landed up asking like 4 in a 5-minute thing because I fluffed 2 jokes. I fluffed 2 intros, so I landed up asking a joke to stall until I could remember.
So meaning you were
what it
asking
was.
the audience questions, like,
Yeah, like as in
maybe,
who has heard of this thing, or like that kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's why I was like, I think I felt like I was pleading. It's because that people were not wanting to shout out and talk and stuff, because it's the stand as well, and they're very against that. So, and you're in a room of 200 folk. If you're in a pub of 20 people, like you might just go like, no, like, because it's no stakes, but in front of 200 people it's going to feel a lot more. And that was just one comment on it, but it was just like a really helpful insight to know how to do things differently for a bigger audience. And that's what I was saying about puzzles. It's just like, it's that puzzle of like, how can I make each environment work? And that's why you have to do the reps, so that you get enough experience across everything. Yeah. Like, you've done your weird old man pubs, you've done your super woke clubs, like you've done everything.
I've not done a super woke club yet.
You know? I mean, I do, but that's because I like running the queer scene, so we're all super woke up there. Yeah, well. No, like even I'm like limited on what I can say. Like,
I know, and analysing it's great, as long as you're not overthinking things and making yourself feel bad. And like you say, we don't give ourselves the credit. I've got a real passion for women in comedy. The amount of nonsense we get, but putting yourself out there, up there, in these different environments. And I should take a leaf out of one book, because I don't. But everything you learn from every gig. Yeah. And there'll never be a point where you'll go on stage and just be like, oh, well, maybe there is performance. Yeah, that was it. That kind of zen moment that you might be striving for, and it sounds like you do want to get better, and you're doing the right kind of things to get yourself better, and you'll get back to the stand and you'll get back to the clubs. It's a shame we don't have a lot of those types of clubs in across Scotland, but when you get those audiences and those nights and your progression nights, there's a wee bit of magic in there. So just the fact that you've analysed it and you've figured out something is a good thing, and not every room's the same and not every Red Raw is the same. You say you did it twice.
Yeah, and they were both of them totally different. I mean, one of them, the audience were just generally quite quiet, and I was fine. Not for me, they were quiet for like everybody. And the first one that I did was, I was like running down south immediately after, like literally drove all night to go down south to like look after my nana. And so yeah, I was just, because it was in August that would have been then,
we
I
were
think.
talking about,
Or would it have been August?
I think you did it before the Fringe show.
It must
I'm
have
sure,
been.
because we were talking about, we were maybe going to meet or something.
Yeah, because the next one was October, so yeah, it would have been 2 months apart-ish.
Well, I mean, now it's December. You must be going this month then.
I'm going next month. I'm actually, they have asked me back for January and March though, so
amazing.
It's good because I really do actually appreciate the feedback at the stand, and I know a lot of people think that like they're like, oh well, what's the but I just appreciate any feedback, to be honest, like but yeah, the feedback is harsh. And that's still like, I'm actually okay with that as a person, because sometimes it'd just be nicer if somebody said it how it is. And to be honest, what mine said was, it was just like, seemed a bit over rehearsed, got lots of laughs, or got a good amount of laughs. But yeah, like still, it was very short, but like it was something that I was like, do you know what? It's fair enough. Actually, it wasn't my best. Neither of those shows have been my best by far.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know you, your persona. We talk about this stage persona, how you come across and stuff. They don't know you, so saying it's over rehearsed could be your style, like that kind of way. But I know what they're meaning, like word for word. You're kind of, it's like you've learned a script and stuff, but also I take it with a pinch of salt. I do find them really harsh.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
To the point where it can stop people performing, but you need to remember that it's one night, one person writing it, one club, and then you can go to these other woke places or old man places and have an amazing time. So, but yeah, like you say, again, learning from every bit of feedback. I do ask other comedians for feedback, because I've tried it in the past, but I felt awkward and stuff. So I'm just kind of like, I would go home and listen to it again, or listen to it in the car home. But I've probably had more bad gigs than good, so I'm just like...
I hope that's what you're supposed to have, because...
Oh yeah, keep learning.
50-50.
I go up a ladder, or one step forward and 7 steps back. And so yeah, but... yeah, I mean, it's always a big topic, getting feedback, a topic of conversation, getting feedback. I think if it's constructive and useful, absolutely take it on board. But when it becomes like, she just filled the space, she filled the time, which was one of mine's, like I was an advert.
The time, that's savage.
That was savage. I had some...
Filled the time. That is really painful. That one, I get why that would hurt. I mean, you're right. Like I do genuinely mean it. Is you take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
One person. At the end of the day, it's one person.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
I know, they're really crumbly, aren't they? I'm liking this mini cheese as well.
That's good. This is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Food is fun.
But it was. I still. Because that's with the stand feedback, I kind of just went, well, it's going to be harsh, isn't it? Because what is it? It's Elliot. I've maybe said this in another episode, but Elliot Simpson.
I love Elliot.
He's so funny, right? He's genuinely fantastic.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And I think he's been called, what was his? He has a quote from the stand in his. It's like, it's like creepy and unnerving, I think. Is what he got. And I'm like,
I think that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. But then you're like, that is too severe for feedback.
I'm not Elliot. Not Elliot at all.
He's not creepy. He's like,
Creepy's got a different
hyperactive,
slant on it now, hasn't
yeah.
it? Well, very big slant on it. Creepy as in like horror type thing, yes. Yeah, macabre, but
he's not like
creepy as in like
lechy.
Dodgy.
Yeah,
lechy. Absolutely not.
He's not like that at all. Like, yeah, I don't know, unless he went and did Dr. Bonk. Like, I don't get how it could be creepy.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's brilliant.
No.
I've seen a 15-minute set last year. It's so good, so well constructed. Mm-hmm. Well done, Elliot.
Yes.
This is the thing. So you've got the kind of comedians that do these kind of act, and Janet was an act.
Yeah.
I know we're maybe going to talk about it, but Janet was this character act. And it was developed through lockdown because we were sitting at home, and it was when Viv did the second some online stuff online, and we did a night of character, and then it was coming up, and it kind of something stuck with me because I thought, well, it's quite nice to bring out elements of yourself of writing another person. And I found that when I could visualise this other person, that I could write different things. So if you're ever stuck for writing, a wee exercise is pretend you're someone else, like an old man, or give them more adjectives than just an old man. But Janet was this kind of, I thought she was a bit of an idiot, and but she lived in the sort of best street in the worst house type thing, quite common, right. hiding our common traits and stuff.
Martin dressed as lamb.
Martin dressed as lamb, and the sort of beleaguered husband off camera. How it played out over Zoom was that I was kind of talking. It was monologue with jokes, but it was lovely because when I was doing her, in fact, I was doing her with Desi's show at one point, because there was a real connection with some of the audience members, because it was the same people every week, and then they were like, "Oh, here's Janet," and I got a lovely. I used to always like, I don't smoke, but I had a wee, it was one of my medications actually, and it was like this, and I would start off pretending I didn't know the camera was there, and then when I heard the laughing and stuff, and then I was like, oh my God, and I just throw it away, and like, oh, hello, all posh and everything. And it is really, there was some lovely wee things with her, that I was lost now because I don't do it again. But then it's also this mask about being yourself, because I was terrified to then become Yvonne in case I wasn't funny. Even though I'd written stuff. So what I did was I did Janet's set as me when I began to be me. And like James Gardner was still calling me Janet. I think I genuinely thought my name was Janet, even though like Yvonne Hughes is your friend on Facebook or whatever was like, oh, there's Janet, and I'm going, I think he thinks I'm Janet. My name's Janet. So, there was some really... there were some really nice things that came out of it. So if you're ever stuck about writing and stuff, just go into someone else's world and do it that way. And some of the lines that I had from Janet stayed in my set till pretty much maybe last year. I have a line where I talk about, I say something like, just don't give a fuck. And it's this, because I don't swear much, it has more impact and stuff. And that was one of her lines about her husband. She was supposed to be doing something with him one night, but she just couldn't remember. But the line was, she doesn't give a fuck. And it works lovely. So there's kind of nice wee things there that, there's a good joke, that can come out of that. So it's a nice way to work.
I guess sometimes we can get ourselves in the mindset of, we know, so when we're being ourselves, we know who we are when we wake up in the morning, when we go to bed, when we're miserable, when we're grumpy, when we're not being creative, so sometimes our perception of ourselves being funny is such a small part of who we are as individuals when we know about our whole lives and the fullness of ourselves. So going up and being yourself, you might have all of these doubts of I'm not really funny, or the character in your head of who you are isn't really funny. But if you go into a character of someone, it's like being a wee old wifey, that's immediately funny. That's funny in so many contexts. You have so much to draw from, reference. Knowing yourself is the hardest bit, which is why I think comedy that's about observing yourself and your own things is so difficult, because you actually have to look in the mirror and go, that's what you were like, or that's what you're like. You need to make fun of that, and that's painful. But so it's relatable, and we can all laugh at ourselves in it.
Yeah.
So both have really great purposes, but I could see it being you are. I think it takes more balls to decide to do a character, because you're having to go out there and be a character to act effectively. But then also, it takes so much balls to actually just put your raw self about who you are out there as well.
Yeah, no, both sides, because Janet would go on screen with a towel and turban.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I take that onto stage? So she ended up in this robe that I I hated wearing it. I bought a pair of bloomers to wear under it just because I thought, well, that she would wear that, you know. But she used to put on fake tan, but she would just, instead of putting it all over, she would just put it on one side of the body. So by the end of the act, she'd basically just half fake tanned her body, and this bit was as white as I am now. And there was some really fun aspects to it. And I was getting everywhere. I wasn't bothering. It was all over my white turban and my towel. I just wasn't bothering because I was too busy talking and being like the diva that she is.
I need to see this. It's so good.
Okay, I've still got some footage.
Yeah.
I would love, there was things like, she would be good in a sketch, but it's that way that I haven't properly constructed a sketch. So I'd read an idea, but she does a joke about doing this Ekapada Sarasana, but she's doing it while she's driving. But it's the leg behind the neck move. Yeah. And I just thought, God, well, I couldn't unless someone else was driving, but you could be, there's just kind of wee sketch ideas that might.
Just fake leg.
Yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Why did I actually do that move while I was driving? And tap dancing and stuff. There was just some fun with it, because I found like sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you're going, is that funny? Is that funny? Is that, and you're getting too serious with it.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying. So no, it's great. But yeah, being yourself as well is it's okay now. But if you get a bad night, you're like,
it's personal.
It's personal, isn't it? And I think as a woman, I put myself through the ringer. Not saying men don't do that either, but I've experienced it less. And I really, or maybe it's just an Yvonne thing, but I really put myself through the ringer if I have a bad time, if I have a bad gig.
I think, like, even if some people don't show it, I think everybody, like, feels it somewhat. Even if it's, like, for me, so if I have a bad gig, I don't really beat myself up about it until, like, 3 weeks later. And
really?
It's like when I feel...
You've processed it?
Well, it's like I'll have a bad gig and then I'll have a good gig and then I'll have, like, whatever, up and down. But it's when I get into a bad place, when I'm fine, I can let it slide off.
Okay.
But when I'm in the bad place, my brain goes, oh, but remember you were shit then, and you were shit then.
Oh,
and it's like,
so pulling you back.
Yeah, so it's like...
Right.
It's, I guess, like, I mean, I guess that's just a battle with your mental health or whatever, but it's just that thing of it constantly... Whether you're good in your life or not, you're having to constantly fight being dragged back into it.
Yeah. So that's true. I'm a very centered, happy person. I meditate. I kind of do things. I
have to do all that to stay that. Yeah.
And I've got there's loads of great things, and then you'll just put yourself through that ringer because you got a polite applause one night rather than I don't ever think I've came off stage and smashed it. I think there was a couple of times and I don't know what that means. I really don't know what smash it, like I was having a period where I wasn't feeling it, like I wasn't, like I knew I was doing good or whatever, and you're a bit and I think that sometimes can help it come from peers, like like they'll maybe say, oh, you did great, and then you speak to someone else and they don't, or they look at you and they just go,
yeah, you're like, it was good seeing you, and you're like, oh, yeah,
I don't care, I'm so happy, and then you go home and you're like, I'm rubbish at this. So
there's folk
it's important to validate everyone. We need validation.
It's frustrating because sometimes I think you'll have people who, like, you're like, why is it every time you are at a gig I do shit? And it's like, this person must think I suck. And I have great gigs when they're not there. I've also just realised two things. One, I forgot to take my medication today, so this is probably why everything is just falling apart. But also, it's getting kind of dark in here. So
we put a light on.
No, Alexa, turn on the living room.
Oh, I thought you were kidding on
there. She's
there.
Embarrassed me. Alexa, turn on the living room. You try to make me look a fool, hen. Right. Alexa, turn on the living room.
Woo! We've not got that far yet. I still, what do you call it? Analog switch on.
Analog switches. No, we have all of the lights we've got far too much stuff that's just like smart for the sake of it.
Do you want to go and take your meds, or is it too late?
No, it's
Do
too
you
late.
need to do a...
I would just not sleep again.
God, well, I mean, I could bore you. I'd sit here and talk about puzzles and
That
and
won't bore
you.
me. That'll engage me.
Well, that's true.
What's funny is that we'll have just been like in dark for the longest, apart from like this ominous glow behind us. This would have looked lovely.
I was thinking that, and then I thought, oh, maybe she's got a light on the back or something.
No, I just I didn't. I was thought to put it on beforehand, but also thought to take meds beforehand, and I also thought to wake up earlier than I did, and I also thought it was a good idea to go to bed at 4 a.m. So I can't be trusted.
Why did you go to bed so late?
Because I was making a wreath thing, not a wreath thing, a knot thing, a macrame thing, and I'm not good at it. And my processing of that sort of thing is challenged. So I took like 7 hours to do something very simple. But
Did you finish it?
no, I got it to a place of something.
Acceptance. I started
For now.
crocheting. I work with a girl who loves crocheting, and I was enthusiastically started it, and I think she thought we were going to become crochet buddies. And then I did it one day at home, and I just couldn't get this bit. So at least she persevered. I've just got it sitting in my cupboard, waiting there till I sort of reinvigorate my love for starting to crochet. So, and then I was like, what am I even going to make with this, you know? So I think that was the thing that I just was like, I've got quite a limited view of the world. So, but she's making all sorts of stuff. She makes clothes and everything. She does great scarves and all that. So, can you crochet a scarf? Yeah. Yeah, so she's doing, she was wanting to make, it was the Taylor Swift dress. Oh, yeah. And her and her family were going to the gig in Edinburgh, and I think our daughter was wanting this kind of Taylor Swift dress for going, but our mum couldn't make it in time. But anyway, that's a Taylor Swift side.
You sure you haven't
crafting
taken
there?
Meds?
I don't have any meds that way.
Yeah. Just your big jar of jelly beans.
With my big jar of jelly beans. Yeah, that was
tots.
it.
Curry jelly tots.
Yeah.
It was Yvonne had a jar of all the meds that she takes, and every day we were looking at it like, I just can't wait to... A jar of jelly tots that equated to the number of meds in a week. I don't know if I explained that clearly.
Yeah, that's true.
And then at the end of it, you gave me half of the jar. And
I didn't even give her the whole jar because I wanted them for myself.
yeah, you deserved at least half. We'd been looking at them the whole time. And they were like, yeah.
How many was in it? Do you remember?
72? No, 204.
It was like 210, was it not?
That's...
I think. Because I take about 30 a day.
That's insane.
I know.
That's just...
I should have taken some of this food, but I'll be eating all afternoon, so I can take it later. I have to take tablets to digest my food, because my food I don't have pancreatic function.
Yes.
So I don't have enzymes to break down the food, so they act as enzymes. That's why I take so many, plus other tablets as well, plus other treatments. So it's all groovy, baby.
pure to minimise your illness here. It's quite funny that it is... So obviously it's a very unpleasant thing for you to go through, and there's lots of other aspects, but lacking enzymes is basically the same problem as people who are lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
It's like you're just... I'm lacking a bunch of enzymes.
I never actually... I used to be... I was a big milk drinker all my life, and then latterly...
Up the pub.
Couple
of pints of heavy cream, please.
I don't spare the cream. Ahead of cream. But latterly, in the last 4 or 5 years, I've pretty much cut out milk, other than maybe having it in coffee. But if I do have it now in cereal or whatever, it's lactose free. But that was only recently, and I was like, I wonder if I should have maybe cut this out. You know,
none of us
when I was a child.
None of us are really supposed to have lactose anyway.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not. Anyway, so that was how you started. That was.
Was that?
This is what always happens,
Is that?
right?
Gosh, I thought we'd moved on.
I pretend that we do like...
We have a formal structure.
Yes, but like it's quick fire, but it's never quick fire. So we're going to wrap up for this episode. We're going to come back for another episode. I've done that thing where I forgot to record it at the time I was supposed to record it because I didn't know how long it was going to be. So here we are doing this thing again. But we've had the amazing Yvonne Hughes. She has got some excellent stuff coming up. Make sure you go and check out Giggles for Glasgow. Why can't I say this? Giggles for Glasgow. Giggles from Glasgow.
We're on Instagram.
Yes, they're on Instagram. Got a show on the 21st of December at the Clyde Hall, did you say Clyde Hall?
The Clyde venue in Clydebank.
The Clyde venue in Clydebank. So come out, especially if you're Fae, Clydebank. If you're a Bankie, come out, get out, go see some hilarious comedy. I'll be there. It'll be great. So thank you very much for being on, Yvonne, and you'll be back in 2 weeks' time for part 2 of this fantastic episode of Out on a Limb.
Out on a limb. Hey, if you dug this episode of Out on a Limb, make sure to subscribe for new episodes every month. Come and party with us at the Glasgow International Comedy Festival on the 27th of March at Dram with my show, Why Am I Like This?